Good morning. Chimneys, crickets, flashing, saddles. We're going to talk about all that and a little bit more, and even home inspections regarding this specific chimney right here needing a saddle. It is Thursday, April 3rd, 2025. We just had a lot of severe weather move through, so I'm going to try to keep this a quick video, but packed full of information for you. All right, so first off, the home inspector came out because this home is being sold. It was bought, the home buyer that bought it, their inspector claimed that this needed to have a cricket or a saddle installed because it was over 30 inches. First off, we're going to address that right now. I don't know if he just looked at it and assumed, but he sure as hell didn't measure it because it's only 27¼ inch wide. It's not 30 inches. I mean, I can look at that and just be like, it doesn't quite look like it's 30 inches. So, does it need a cricket? No. Also, check your local code, building inspections, whatever may be required, because some of you may need to. In my area, it's not required. We're solely back here in my area, it doesn't need it. But that is why he said this chimney was leaking. That's not the case. We're gonna go through some basics of flashing here. We're gonna learn about this corner right here, the kick out solid. We're gonna learn about crickets and saddles. We're gonna learn about the flashing here and why the leak was actually created, where it came in from. We're gonna start from the top. Just because you have a cricket, well, let's back up. What is a cricket or a saddle for those that may not know? Some of you watching might be homeowners, DIYers. This is a piece of flashing put in behind the chimney. Water hits it, it runs laterally. The wider you go, the larger the risk you have of an issue. Or if you're in the north and you have freeze-thaw cycles and ice dams that can actually back up behind your siding and stuff. So the bigger the chimney, yes. But here's a caveat. Just because you're going by code and regulation doesn't mean you're not going to have an issue. It's not a cure-all. It's not going to stop a potential leak from happening. You got to have the skill and the knowledge, which is actually pretty easy to acquire. But common sense to not miss simple steps and basics. And we're going to go through that. So, saddle, cricket, comes up. You're going to have a roof basically build up and come down the other side. You're gonna have a valley built in here with a ridge. So any water that hits, it'll divert out. The valley is gonna look like this right here. Imagine that, it's a huge cricket or saddle. Water flows down, hits the valley, and guides down angled. Ridge line right here comes over. Any rain in this area is gonna hit the valley or hit that slope and run off and out. That won't do a damn thing for this leak right here. We'll get back to this right here. The leak is actually in this area. Let me zoom in here so any you guys that want to comment down the section in 3, 2, 1 if you see the issue. It's right here and right here. We're going to go through two issues with this. You can see here's the leak, right? It's originating right here. It has nothing to do with the fact that it's missing a cricket or saddle. All right, so this piece of shingle has to tuck under your bottom piece of flashing. It needs to be cut like a sideways L, snugly up under there. Your flashing has to dump out on top, and you have to make a transition to step flash on top. That's issue 1 right here, right? We'll go into the second part. If you look here, it's cut real sloppy. Instead of being tight under the flashing being over my thumb, they cut the shingle sloppy out to the edge and transitioned over the piece of metal right there, right? So it looks like they may have tried to caulk it and seal it, but there's still a little penetration right here. It humps up, causing a little diversion to go right in the side right here. So that is definitely a huge issue right there. That should have never been done. This is a quality control of an inspector or a less skilled, competent roofer right here. The second issue, this flashing doesn't come down far enough. This metal rolls up the flashing, up the side of the chimney under here, behind the substrate or the siding here. I don't know if it looks like hardy board or something, maybe like that. So when that goes up that, you have to put a relief cut to fold this part down. That means there's a penetration right up under here. If you took this corner trim off, can't see in there, there's gonna be a penetration where this part lays down, where it bends and goes up, if that makes sense. Bloop, there's a hole there. So if your piece of flashing doesn't come out past that penetration, you have a penetration going in there where water's gonna get in. And if you're relying on caulking to stop it, it's never gonna hold due to freeze-thaw cycles or just not good. Don't do it. You need to have a kick out. If you're doing new construction, you can simply put a piece of accordion style one in and then transition, you don't see it. This here, you've got a slit. It's very easy. What we're gonna do when this is all cleaned and prepped, ready to put back, and yes, ice and water can be good. This is a pet peeve of mine. Again, just because you have ice and water doesn't mean there's not gonna be a leak. It's simple basics. You don't want water getting to the ice and water. It's a great secondary, it's a great piece of security, but you don't want to rely on it. It's not a cure-all. Everybody thinks just ice and water, gonna fix the problem. Ice and water, no leaks, ice and water, I'm a professional, ice and water, I'm the best. And I don't claim to know and be the best, but I always try to strive to see when I do inspections, what can I learn from it? What can we prevent? What can make us excel and build a brand? Just because you have a Cricket and you're reciting code and you feel good because, oh, it doesn't have a Cricket, oh, it's past 30 inches, it doesn't mean a damn thing. I'm a pilot. We have something called checklists. Checklists are written in blood. Where were the checks on this? Where was the quality control? Where was the skill, the foreman, or the guy that has the knowledge over years teaching the new guys? Somewhere there is a failure there. But if you recite code and you put a Cricket in, it doesn't guarantee shit. Oh, I gotta keep this clean. Sorry, sometimes the language just comes out. Ice and water won't solve this. It might prevent it. It might move water somewhere else. A Cricket is not bad, but if you do it wrong, the simple basics, it's not gonna solve anything. This has to come down farther. We're gonna pull this loose just a little bit. We're gonna add a piece of flashing or reflash it, whatever. Let me just pull some of this off here, see what they actually did. So this piece of flashing, it's in the wrong spot. This piece of flashing needs to be down to the reveal line. This one here needs to be down lower past that cut. Whenever you start your first piece, it can be manipulated a little higher or lower from your reveal line on your shingle tucked under. But wherever that first piece starts and your next shingle lays, the next piece of flashing needs to be at the reveal line. What's the reveal line? Right under this lip here. Right there is pretty damn good. That's in a good spot because it's near the reveal line. This right here allows water to come off way too high and can run laterally, missing this entire shingle headlap. Oh, hey, they got ice and water. Look at this. They do have ice and water, but it didn't stop the leak. And also, look at this. That piece of flashing is torn pretty damn bad. Not good. Hey, we got ice and water. Sorry for the sarcasm, but an inspector comes out here and says you got a leak because there's no Cricket. It's over 30 inches. Reciting the code, IRC, you know, which varies everywhere. We don't have a code here. Use knowledge. Knowledge you acquire. It's really simple basics. And before I forget, we're gonna go up and address this backside right here. So the other issue I see when you're using a piece of lamination like this, and it doesn't matter if you have a Cricket back here, if it's a low slope Cricket, it can still leak due to surface tension. This is a good prime example of what is well, I hope you know what surface tension is, but you want to get your kickouts extending past where this shingle goes under. Same principle, you want that shingle going under there. You want the flashing dumping out, but what people neglect to do is seal under the flashing. What that is, when you put this in here, you need to put a piece of sealer or a bead of sealer in there under the back side of the flashing to the substrate and under the metal up the roof deck or on top of your shingle like you need here. So when water comes out, most of it should flow off, but those long soaking rains it can wick up under due to surface tension. It will cling to this and trickle in slowly over time. Not always, but can. I've seen a lot of hard to find leaks because of that, and it trickles in. Well, when it trickles in back there, you're missing your last piece of flashing out here. Hey, you got ice and water. It's a secondary. Why do people rely so heavily on ice and water or reciting code and thinking that it's gonna not cause a leak? The other thing I want to point out real quick too while we're here, this is the house I did a few weeks back, a video on about plumbing. The plumbing company was here, said they took care of it. There's no vent. There's nothing in here, nothing over here, nothing over here. Those were here. To give them the benefit of the doubt, maybe they put in out the sidewall like I was talking about in there. I haven't been down there yet, but I don't see any new penetrations. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'll go down there. If they try to get away, it's a little noisy over there. If they did address it, if they did run it out the side, I'll update you in the comment section down below. We've had a lot of storms move through yesterday. There was a big tornadic outbreak through my area, all the way down through Arkansas. Just, it was horrible. A lot of storms, a lot of damage. One of the tornadoes went just south of here into Marion County, did some damage. So I've got a lot of calls already streaming in. I've got to get busy. If you guys got any benefit out of it, give it a quick thumbs up. Let me know if I missed something. Let me know what your code states in wherever you're watching from, where you're watching from. Let me know. Do you still have leaks just because they followed the code? You know, I'm not knocking the code, but there's basics. Just because you do something that's regulation or code doesn't mean it's a cure-all. There's simple basics. The way water flows, the way gravity, surface tension, wind, transition, slopes. There's a lot of little factors to it that you can learn relatively easy if you just think about it. Until next time, be safe. We'll see you then.